Welcome, everyone, to the Around the Ballpark podcast. This is episode number 101. We just are coming off just over a week ago, our 100th episode. We had so much fun talking Chicago sports, the north side. We had a guest on from the south side. So much great stuff. And so we had a little bit of time off this past Sunday. So we are back live tonight. And Darren will be joining us shortly. He is on his way home from work right now, so he'll be jumping on with us in just a little bit. But as always, we want to give a shout out to our proud sponsors over at Nashville Tax Solutions. Whether you need to file years of missing returns, a current year return, or you need relief from a tax lien or levy, Nashville Tax Solutions has the solution for you. Our expert team of tax professionals are dedicated to providing personalized solutions tailored to your unique situation. Don't let tax problems weigh you down. Contact Nashville Tax Solutions today and let them guide you towards a brighter financial future. Call Nashville Tax Solutions today. Offices in both Palm Bay and now in Fort Pierce. Phone number 855-627-4829. You can check out their website, NashvilleTaxSolutions.com, or we can send an email to info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com. So again, shout out to our sponsors over there at Nashville Tax Solutions. As always, thank you so much for all that you do for us. Believe in us from the beginning. We say that each and every episode because it means that much to us. And we are just excited to continue moving this thing forward here. As you know, we recently hit just over 3,000 subscribers. So we're continuing to push forward onwards and upwards. Next goal of 3,500. Love to hit there by the end of the year. So please, your likes, smash that like button. It helps us so much with our numbers. You got to make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. Super important that you hit subscribe. It definitely helps with the algorithm if you're hitting like on those videos. And so that is the best way to interact with this channel. If you can't join us live for the entire stream, go ahead and hit that like button. It's so important. That way our video can be seen at the top of the searches on YouTube, and then more and more can interact with us and get on with us here on the show. As you know, each and every Sunday and Thursday evening, we are live for the podcast. We have a special Friday night episode for you coming live tomorrow night, and we are going to be previewing SummerSlam weekend. SummerSlam is, for the very first time ever, going to be a 2-night event starting this Saturday and then Sunday as well. And hi, Mom, I see you in the chat. Thanks for lunch today. Appreciate you. We had a great time. We went to Shell's for some really good seafood today. Had some shrimp Diablo. I love my spicy stuff. So had a great time there. So, but yeah, so SummerSlam is this weekend, Saturday night and Sunday night. So tomorrow we will be live to basically recap or preview, I should say, give you my preview and my predictions for the event. We'll actually be dropping that video live tomorrow evening around the same time. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to go over all 12 matches, 6 matches on night 1, 6 matches on night 2. Very excited to see, the build hasn't been great this year for SummerSlam. They really, they've had so many shows back to back, 3 weeks apart. And so it's really hard to keep your momentum and build storylines when you're constantly having these major shows 3 weeks apart. And so we know the product in the ring is going to be great. We know they're going to bring it. We know both the men and the women are going to perform. It's going to be awesome. But until, they can start building the storylines a little bit better and spacing out some of these shows a little bit better, it's really hard to generate a why these two people have animosity towards each other and why we need to see this big blow-off match. Sometimes we need a little bit more than we know they're going to deliver. Sometimes we need to know why that they're going through this. And so hopefully we'll break that down a little bit more tomorrow night. I just want to give you a little bit of a preview there. Of course, we know that the night 1 is going to be main evented probably by Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk. And then on Sunday evening, we have that big rematch from WrestleMania, John Cena defending the championship against Cody Rhodes. in a no-holds-barred match, which means there are no rules, which means somebody is getting involved, the referee is getting knocked out, some kind of shenanigans are going to be taking place tomorrow night. So, Sunday night, I should say. But a great card. Jelly Roll is on this show. He's been training to be a professional wrestler. He's been training pretty often at the Performance Center in Orlando. So he'll be tag teaming with Randy Orton against the team of Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. That's going to be taking place on the Saturday night show as well. But before all that, and also live tomorrow night, is Friday Night SmackDown, 2-hour Friday Night SmackDown, the final show before the big 2-night weekend. So again, this is the first time they've ever done back-to-back nights for SummerSlam. I know that it's going to be held at the MetLife Stadium in New York, New Jersey. I know there was some trouble today for people trying to get over there. The weather was real bad, so flights were delayed. So hopefully everybody can get there safely. One person we do know is here safely, and that's Drew McIntyre. For those of you that might not know, he had went to England to basically visit a friend, and he got all the way over there, and for a wedding, I do believe. Got all the way over there and realized he had his passport to get there, but he didn't have his return passport. And so he was kind of stuck there. But it seems like Logan Paul and his crew got him a flight, private jet flight back over to the States. There was some concern that he might actually miss the show altogether. Thankfully, that didn't happen. And thankfully, he's back here performing and training. And so he'll be probably live tomorrow night on SmackDown, as well as Saturday night for that tag team match. As well, we got that big Roman Reigns will be teaming up with Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Of course, will Seth Rollins show up? Typically by now when we have an injury, a high-profile injury such as the one that we're supposed to believe that Seth Rollins has, we get some sort of confirmation. By now, we really should know if somebody was injured or not, and they're really kind of holding things back. So, and we know what he said, over his dead body before CM Punk is ever World Heavyweight Champion. And so the likelihood of Punk topping his old WrestleMania moment with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns that he had many years ago, where he became World Heavyweight Champion by cashing in that contract, I definitely see something similar to that effect going down this weekend, where we might see him come on out and he's actually not injured after all. They were saying 9 months to a year, but I really believe it's a swerve. Unfortunately, in 2025, it's really, really hard to hit surprises for the fans. Everything is kind of either spread through a source or people figure things out a little bit better. It's really, really hard to hold down a secret. But so it may be the world's worst kept secret, but I feel like that may go down. So we'll get into that a little bit more in depth on tomorrow night's show as we preview, like I said, preview SummerSlam. But tonight is all about the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And, not too much happened before we woke up this morning. There was a couple moves here over the last couple of days, a little bit of movement last night. But, of course, as you know, teams decide to wait till the very last minute. So heavily around 2, 3, 4 o'clock, there were a lot of things coming in, a lot of moves. Around 5 o'clock, it got a little quiet again. And then right at 6 o'clock, and then as it always does, 6:15, 6:20, 6:25, about 20 minutes after the deadline, we get like the final set of moves that we just didn't get across the waiver or the line just quick enough. But sure enough, there was an amount of trades today. The amount of teams that were sellers today that are always buyers or typically don't make much movement, the amount of teams that were contenders last year, we're talking about the Baltimore Orioles, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Minnesota Twins, teams that were contenders last year, made the playoffs even. Basically, they had a rough start to the first year, and they decide we're going to clean house. Not just release a guy here or there. We're going to clean house and start this whole thing over again. So, not quite sure. I agree with that. I feel really bad for some of their fan bases who, they lose these people that maybe they just had an off year, but there was a reason why they were division winners just a year ago. Anything could happen. So we're going to break those moves down here in just a minute. But as I said at the top of this podcast, Darren should be joining us pretty shortly. He is getting home a little bit late from work. And Pigtown Sports, thank you so much for joining us. We were just talking about how Darren's just a few minutes late, so we're just kind of getting things started. But yes, and I was just talking about the Baltimore Orioles actually in terms of the amount of moves that they did. And we're going to break those down here in just a few minutes because, I'd like to get your insight and others too, is in terms of, how do you make that decision? Okay, you know what? We're okay to kind of move this one guy to get a couple pieces versus the complete breakdown of a roster almost, it seems like. And then you have a team like the Marlins that were pretty quiet for the most part. I know, they lost a big outfielder from their lineup or whatnot, but Alcantara was not moved. Cabrera was not moved. About 3:00, I think they made it known that they were sticking with who they have, and they decided not to or to go that route and move him. So there were a lot of people not moved today, but for the most part, most people that we kind of thought would get moved did get moved. And so we're going to go ahead and breaking those down. But one, one big player that was talked about, Luis Robert Jr., to my knowledge, was not moved. And this was a guy who White Sox wanted a lot in return for him. They were high on Mark Vientos of the New York Mets, but so unless something kind of went down after 6:00 that just hasn't gotten reported yet, it seems like he's going to stay put. So it seems like it broke just before 5:00 that they were deciding to hold on to him. And so let's start first. Again, there's a flurry of moves. Try to do our best to kind of break all these down for you. But I want to go first and talk about kind of a lower tier move. But let's go ahead and start the Texas Rangers. So they acquired right-handed pitcher Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks, and they gave away 3 prospects to get him. And so the Diamondbacks are a team that last year had a great run. They were 1 game shy of getting into the playoffs last year. And they kind of went backwards this year. They started off really slow, and then they got a little bit hot, and then but it's kind of fallen apart right now for them. So they were a team that was expected high expectations, but so were the Texas Rangers. And the Rangers were a team where it was kind of interesting to see, okay, are they going to be a team that's going to be moving players here at the deadline? Are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? And the Texas Rangers are sitting right now at 5 games back. And you have some teams at 5 games back that are sellers, and you have teams at 5 games back that are buyers. And Texas Rangers look like they're still all in. They feel like they still have a run in this thing. They've been hot as of late. They've won 7 out of their last 10. Playing really, really good at home, 34-20 at home. But again, only 5 games back. But when you have teams like the Astros, they made some big moves. The Mariners, they made a big splash for another offensive bat. So Texas really felt like, hey, you know what? We still have a run in this thing. The second wild card is still at play. Teams that were close to them, like Tampa Bay Rays, seem to be kind of going downward spiral right now. And they made some moves as well. So just wanted to – that move right there. As I mentioned, they watched the Astros make moves. They watched the Mariners make moves. So Merrill Kelly, free agent. So he was a pending free agent at the end of the season. He had a 3.22 ERA, over 22 starts for the Diamondbacks in 2025. And he's going to fit in so nicely behind Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi. And that's going to be an excellent trio. So that's a team where if the Texas Rangers can find a way in to the playoffs, that's a team. You don't want to face that rotation, especially in a 3-game series, let alone a 5-game series. So maybe kind of like an under the radar with all the flurry of moves that happened today. But I wanted to start with this move specifically because I feel like this is going to be a catapult where I think Texas Rangers can really slide in nicely to that second wild card. And that's all you got to do is get in. Doesn't matter how they started the year or what the expectations were. I know I placed them as a division winner in my preview. I didn't have them going I didn't have them going into the ALCS or anything, but I had them as a division winner. It hasn't quite worked out yet for them this season, but they're still within striking distance. Still, like I said, 5 games back of the division. Anything can still happen there. So we'll see with that one. A big splash, the Toronto Blue Jays. So I was interested to see what they would do. And they went ahead and acquired Shane Bieber from the Cleveland Guardians, another team that we're not expecting to be sellers. They had a phenomenal year last year, made it all the way to the ALCS before they lost to the Yankees. So they were a team that had high expectations this year. It just did not work out for him. But as you know, Shane is returning soon from undergoing Tommy John surgery, and it was likely that he was going to be traded after the closer was placed on leave and everything like that. So not quite sure where Bieber fits in or when he comes back. I know he has the choice of staying with the Blue Jays beyond next year. He can exercise the $16 million player option, or he can opt out. And so he is the person that the Guardians got back, right-handed pitcher Kyle Stevens, I should say, 2024 second-round draft pick, Toronto's number 5 prospect overall. So still a good get for Cleveland there. But unfortunately, for Cleveland, like I said, they seem to be sellers right now and lost a lot of pieces today and yesterday. And so we'll see how that goes there. But the Blue Jays got even better right now, as you know. I'll pull that up. But in the standings for Toronto this year, they are 3.5 games up on the Yankees. They've come back down to earth a little bit, but 37-17 at home. That's awesome. So they're a tough team to beat. That crowd is raucous there in Toronto. Boston's only 5 games back, but that's where I mentioned we were talking about the Texas Rangers. The Rays now are 10 games back, and I think that's why they had to make some big decisions today, because 2 weeks ago, they were really right there. They got as close as a game and a half from the division, not even been a game, and now they're sitting at 10 games back, 5 games behind that second wild card spot. So unfortunately for them, it's not looking too good in Tampa, but we'll get there. But so we were talking about the Orioles a little bit ago, and I want to go there next because the team to me, and I have to look over everything again, and maybe not huge splashes, but the team to me that made the most moves and gave up the most prospects were the San Diego Padres. And this team, I don't know if it was just, I feel like by them just sweeping the Mets, it kind of like beefed up their chest and pumped up their chest a little bit, because all of a sudden they were dealing everybody from their minor league system. I saw a lot of tweets today where they were saying, do the Padres have anyone left in their farm system? That's because they had to give away a lot of prospects. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of prospects to get the people that they got. Specifically, though, they acquired both outfielder Ramon Laureano and all-star first baseman Ryan O'Hearn, both from the Baltimore Orioles. So if you're an Orioles fan, I'm sure today it was very, very difficult to get through. And as you're seeing that deadline come and you're wondering who else is going. So I'd like to dive in when I have some more time and kind of see, but 6 prospects, guys, 6 prospects left San Diego's system to be able to acquire those two talents from Baltimore. So we shall see, but that's a big deal to move that many people. But the Padres definitely beefed up that lineup even more. And I really feel like, maybe not, but that sweep of the Mets saying, hey, you know what, this is where we're at. And the Mets are a strong team and we just swept them. They had very little offense the entire series. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a correlation there or not, but big deal there for the Padres to do what they did there. The Yankees acquired Ahmed Rosario from the Nationals for Clayton Beeter. And so not a big move there. Rosario is really just an extra piece, utility piece that's going to fill in. He's not going to play every day. So it's more of a move to get someone that's got a lot of experience in there and whatnot. But he's not someone that, like I said, it's going to play every day. He's not going to make a huge impact on a team, but he fills in nicely for defensive alignment. And Ed, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to get to the Mets. I'm kind of waiting on Darren to jump on here, hopefully shortly, before we dive into all the things that are the Mets. So we're just kind of breaking down. I'm just kind of breaking down some of the moves that happened today. Ahmed Rosario, another guy who played with the Mets. He went to Tampa, then went to Washington. So again, not too much there. A few days ago, actually, as early as July 28th, another move I want to discuss. We'll start with our first Tampa Bay Ray move, and that was catcher Danny Jansen went to Milwaukee and for an infielder that no one's ever heard of. And Danny Jansen, really never got his footing in Tampa Bay. They paid him a lot of money. When I say a lot of money for the Tampa Bay Rays, that was a lot of money. I want to say almost to $10 million, I believe. And he just didn't really perform. I think he hit under 200 for most of the season. He had some potential. When he had a good game, he had a good game. But for the most part, he had a lot of 0 for streaks and 1 for streaks and really just didn't. And that's really been a position that the Tampa Bay Rays have been ever since they lost their guy for many years, Mike Zunino. I really feel like Tampa Bay has struggled, and more than any other position, it's been at the catcher position. Ever since Zunino retired, they've tried guy after guy there, and it's just not working out no matter who they brought in. And I think that's why they brought in Jansen, thinking that he was that offensive piece that they were needing. Didn't quite work out, though, for them. So, of course, he is no longer there. The Braves acquired Carlos Carrasco for the Yankees back on July 28th. I'm not sure why the Braves are making any kind of moves, but their entire rotation from the start of the season is all injured. A lot of I think there's 3 of the 5 people have elbow injuries this year. So they're gone for 60 days or more, pretty much for the most part. So the Braves making any kind of move was surprising, especially when you see it for a player to be named later. So again, that's another kind of under the radar move there. They also acquired Dane Dunning from the Rangers. Again, Braves making some moves. That was done back a couple weeks ago. I don't know why they would even entertain such a thing, but that happened. Another guy you feel like you've heard a lot about is Adam Frazier. He kind of feels like he's been everywhere, then went back to the Pirates again this year, but now he's moved on to the Royals. I'm not quite sure if the Royals think they're going to be competing this year, because it seems like they made a couple moves today that felt like they thought they could still compete. They're 9.5 back in the division between the Tigers, and I think we all got that one wrong. I did pick Detroit to win the division this year. They were my pick. But Guardians at 9 back, Royals 9.5, and Twins 12 back was not on my bingo card. You go from a year where all 4 were viable playoff contenders to this year where it looks like the Tigers are going to be the only team out of that division that do any damage. So is what it is with that move. But I mentioned, and I'm not sure. Hopefully Darren can get on here soon. What do you call it? I want to talk about our first Mets move here. We'll jump into that right now and go ahead in the comments if you have any feedback on that. But so this was done back on July 25th, and not Juan Soto, but left-handed pitcher Gregory Soto. And I bring this up because not only was this the first of 3 big bullpen moves for the New York Mets, but this was really the start of the Orioles kind of tearing everything down. So the Orioles sent Gregory Soto, bullpen piece, over to the Mets for Wellington and for Cameron. Gregory had a great first outing, didn't go so well in his second outing, but I think everyone's in agreement. If you can get a left-handed arm in the bullpen, especially at the deadline, I think that's a good add for them. So definitely think that is a piece, and I'm glad that was not all they did, but I'm definitely – oh, there you are. I'm just chatting away.
That's a good thing.
Darren, we are. I kind of was stalling as best I can to talk about the big moves. So I was talking about some of the lower level moves there. I just mentioned Gregory Soto. I know that happened a couple of days ago, but I think it's important to bring that up because that was the first of 3 pieces for the bullpen for the Mets. So wanted to get your initial thoughts on that from when we heard about that a few days ago with Soto. Were you excited to hear that about that move? Was he a guy who was on your radar? Or
Well, he wasn't on my radar specifically as to him. A lefty out of the pen that can shut people down was. And I really enjoyed seeing that, and I hope that they would follow up instead of like a mishmash. I got a reliever, I got a backup second baseman, I got a bench player, sort of like what the Red Sox did, which was sort of like this hodgepodge approach, and I don't mean that as negative as it sounds. I was hoping that they did what they did, and that is, hey, Ed, how are you, my friend? I really like what they did. They said, hey, here's the philosophy we're going with. And without getting too far ahead of my skis, the Yankees, the Mets, the Padres, and the Phillies all had the same philosophy, and that's go to the pen and shut it down. Get shut down relievers for the pen. And other than Seattle went for power, which is okay too. At least that's a philosophy. And the Mets did that in 2015, and that worked out well. The Mets are tired of losing these leads. And granted, could have they got a little more offensive punch? Maybe. But I like the move with Soto. I like, the other people you brought in, Helsley and Rogers. I liked it.
Yeah, I think, we didn't get that big splash guy, right? But I think, like you said, I think the sum of the four that we did get is greater than just adding like if we go back in time to 2015, remember that faithful day when the Mets get Cespedes and we're all excited and it's a big deal and it happened right before the deadline. And then he went wacko not too long after that. So, yep. And Ed says, use him right. It could be a bounce. So what do you call it? Yeah. So that's a thing. But yeah, you mentioned, and you were working up until it. So I'm not sure if you even saw some of the moves that we're going to be talking about. So some of what we might go into might be brand new to you. So we're going to get a little bit more. We'll kind of go back and forth into some stuff and some late moves and stuff. One move I was not happy about today. And again, I'm a Mets fan, of course, but I'm also big into the Tampa Bay Rays and stuff. Taj Bradley was moved to Minnesota. Now, a lot of people would say that Taj Bradley is not performing very well this season and to what the expectation was. So they moved him back down to AAA about a couple days ago. He had an awesome start, 7 innings pitched, lights out, shutout ball, and he was moved today to Minnesota. Now, this is a guy that I think has all the pieces. He just hasn't put it together for consecutive starts. But when you see this guy on the mound, one start, it's like this guy is a Cy Young candidate, and then the next one he gives up 6 runs. So he's got to still put it all together. But I was really upset to see that. He's going to go on to bigger and better things. Not playing in Tampa, I'm sure he's not heard about that. Yes, he's been there his whole career, but he's still so young. But so the Rays did acquire Griffin Jacks from the Twins, so they're excited about that move. But to me, that one stung a little bit, especially when you have a little bit of a favoritism to a talent that you've seen pitch for almost every 5 days. We'll watch a lot of Rays baseball here in this house. So, but did you really know much about him? I know I do on my end, but have you really got to probably not too much, but
not too much, just enough that I watch because because of you and Eileen. So I got my Tampa jersey, right, and I watch a little bit more, but I didn't know him as much as you talked about. I thought you were going to say, and I should have realized you're going to talk about Tampa. I thought you were going to say you're a Met fan, and I said, "Oh, here it comes." I did not like that Harrison Bader went to the Phillies.
So when you say you didn't like that, so let's go there next. When you say you didn't like that move, was it?
I wanted him. I wanted him back on. Yes, he played a nice center field, good hustle. One of those guys you like having on the team.
So why do you think the Mets went the route that they did with Mullins over him then? Do you have a thought about that? Because, I mean, I was a little surprised that they even moved him, that he left after this past season. Not that he was streaky, of course. My only thought, maybe they thought he was a little too streaky, but he hit a couple game winners, or a couple walk-offs for Minnesota this year. So, I still liked him better than Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox, and Ed and I are glad that we didn't get him today. So I can get that. I mean, and it stings a little bit more when they go to the Phillies, right? Like anyone that you kind of had on your radar, and that's where they.
But let's talk about that, right? Go down that rabbit hole. You mentioned that he went from Tampa to Minnesota, right? So they add him, but Minnesota gets rid of Correa, gets rid of Breda. What are they doing?
Yeah,
Correa went back to the Astros.
Yep, Correa went back to the Astros. And I was actually just chatting a little bit with Tony Voda, Road Tripper, before we went live, and he's just like looking at his like lineup, like where did everybody go? I mean, they still have a couple pieces there, but strange, and Ed mentions that Harrison Bader has another year after this year, so maybe that's something to do with it. So yeah, I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that Bader moved, but I after thinking about it, I'm like, that might have been a good nice return story and stuff. I think he, but it is what it is. I think Mullins is only for this year, as Ed says as well. He's a 250 hitter, I believe. He's not, I think he's got 18 home runs. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but I think Mullins. So do you see him pretty much playing every day? And where do you see, let me ask you this, Darren, where do you see Cedric Mullins batting in the batting order? Does this finally mean that Brandon Nimmo can move down to that 9 spot, or you feel like, is Mullins going to be the leadoff now? Because Lindor's been struggling at 2. It seems like Lindor's been struggling everywhere, but I feel like, where do you think he plugs in? Middle lineup guy, top of the order guy, bottom of the order guy? What are you thinking?
Bottom of the order. Because, I mean, where are you going to put him in the middle? When Nimmo is at 5 or 6, okay, maybe. But the back of the last couple of games that we won, we won predominantly because of the back of the lineup. But it's weak. I'm sorry, but you got Taylor's back there. He couldn't hit water and fell out of a boat right now.
Yeah.
Ventus is up and down. I don't know.
Now I'm probably the minority here, but I would like to see the following. Ed, you can veto me in the chat if you'd like. If I'm looking at this Mets lineup right now, I'm doing Lindor back to 1. I'm putting Jeff McNeil in the 2 spot. I'm putting Soto at 3, putting Alonso at 4. I'm putting Brett Beatty at 5. I'm still a Mark Vientos guy through and through. So he's my 6th guy. 7 is Alvarez. 8 is Mullins, and 9 is Nimmo. Will that happen? No, but that's my 1 through 9. That's what it should be. I know we got to get Ronnie in there a couple times, and Acuna and late innings and all that kind of stuff. But if you're asking me 1 through 9, that's my 9. Again, it's Lindor, it's McNeil, it's Soto, Alonso, Beatty 5. We got Vientos 6, Alvarez 7, Mullins 8, Nimmo 9. That's where
now do you have Beatty in front of Ventos because of the lefty-righty deal? Because you're going Alonso righty, lefty-righty? Because I like Ventos at 5 more than Beatty.
I'm willing to kind of maneuver those two guys around. I just think I think the world of Vientos, but I feel like for whatever reason you put him anywhere 2 to 5 this year, and like he was like, it's just, I don't know, it's just a thing where you put him a little bit lower, and the pressure's not there as much. And Beatty's proven that he can handle like defensively, he's been fantastic. But he's still not super consistent either. But I feel like we gotta give both those kids a shot and say, hey, you know what, we live and die with you guys this year. And I'm glad that at the end of the day they didn't move any of these infield pieces. What I'm really interested about is you already had a logjam in the infield, right? With Mullins now taking outfield time to split with Taylor. McNeil's not going to be playing much outfield anymore because you have Soto and you have Nimmo. So now you have even more of a logjam because now without McNeil playing some center field, you're going to have 2 of those pieces not playing every day. You're going to have Ronnie not playing and Acuna not playing, or Vientos not playing a lot. So that's surprising to me that we're going to have a lot of those guys not in there as often. And then 2, I was surprised. I don't know what you can get for him, but think about this too. And I know they're decent names, but we have Marte, we have Jesse Winker, and then eventually we have Jose Siri, who is a center, can play center field as well. And eventually he's got to come back. I didn't think his injury was as serious as it's been, but I was surprised that none of those pieces got moved, injured or not, because they're, so a lot of them don't play a lot of defense. So I don't know. There's a logjam. That's all I can say. But somebody's got to step up. I feel like someone's really got to step up for this team. So,
well, and also your primetime players have to step up as well. I mean, is Winkler going to make it through the whole season? I mean, he gets a lot of owies. Don't get me wrong. I like him. Good motivating rah-rah guy, right? But we said the same thing about OMG guy last year with the song, and we don't miss him. What's he doing in San Diego?
Right. Yeah.
You know, I mean, these flash in the pans are good, and we like having them, and use that energy as much as you can. And I like having Winkler on the team. I think what Marte brings to the table, he's got sort of, he is that locker room leader. He's like, you know, you go to him and you're like, I'm going to learn something from this man. You know, and I like them both. I like that Winkler is hits from the left side. But you got a lot of Danny Heaps on this team right now, right? You got a lot of.
You do, and here's a point too. And let me ask this: I didn't look this up, so maybe Ed, maybe you know, Darren, maybe you know. You add Mullins, who's subtracted. Like, are they going to have a fifth bench player and then release another bullpen guy? Because if not, is it Acuna? Is it? I mean, I don't think it's Tyrone Taylor. Maybe it is. But if you do the math, 26-man roster, and Jared Young's already back because they already called Marte back up. So who got moved down? And I'm curious about that because I'll have to check the website here in a second. But they can't unless they're one reliever short. Someone's got to be gone.
Do we need all those people in the pen? I mean, we got some really good arms right now, and the rest it's just, you know, it's shaky. It's like the third stooge. There's Mo, there's Shemp, you know, like they're all the same. And you know, I don't want to make this an anti-Mendoza thing, but I want to see what Mendoza does with this team. What's going to be the philosophy? You know.
Because I'm looking right now on the website on the Mets official roster. Cedric Mullins is not on the website yet, and they have a 26-man roster. So at some point before tomorrow's first pitch, again, unless they're going to 11 or 6 relievers instead of 7, which could happen, but if they don't go that route, one of those names, it's not going to be a catcher. So it's going to have to be, I guess, Acuna, Taylor, or Vientos. One of those has to move down, I would assume, because it says somebody went on the 60-day list. I don't remember who it was. I'll have to see who that might have been because I don't think it was. It says Jesse Winker went to the 60-day DL, but he's not. If that's who you were talking about. He's not in part of that 26-man roster. So I'm referring to, I believe it was somebody else. But yeah, so that'll be interesting. So either Acuna, Taylor, Vientos, or Beatty, one of them is getting sent down to AAA tomorrow because there's no spot for all of those guys. So that'll be interesting to see who that is. But
hold on a second. I know what you're thinking. You're saying, wait a minute. Darren's wearing his Met jersey. Well, one of his Met jerseys, I have quite a bit. But it's not a Met jersey. What jersey is it?
So it's another team?
Yep.
I'm going to say Phillies.
No.
Okay.
So if I do get a Philly jersey, it's going to be the zipper one. That one was kind of cool. That was kind of weird. You ready? A little, it's not a Sandberg jersey, but a little homage to Ryan Sandberg who passed away. Kids.
Okay. That's much. So, you know, the undershirt had kind of like that Philly.
Oh, it definitely does. It's red.
I was like, I wonder if we go. I was surprised that you went Philly there. I thought you were going Philly there, but no, it's a nice homage to Ryan Sandberg for sure. And where I was going to go next, I'm kind of afraid to go there. I say that jokingly because Eileen just got home she had a long day at work today, but there's a move that she was angry about. Her favorite player got moved today. And, yes, Ed, it could be Mauricio as well. It could be. That just says though, like that's a bad, like sometimes it's like, oh, we have so much depth. Like who can go? Yes, we have depth, but like none of those guys I mentioned are standing out. That's been the problem. Like as good as they've been, none of those guys are standing out. So that's part of it. So
Mauricio has a big hole in his swing.
Oh, Wife just walked in along with just Darren. So I don't even know if he knows about the move.
Do you know?
Do you know where you're going to? Do you like
You know about the Rays player that went to the Yankees today?
Let me pull up a chair. Hold on.
No, who?
Okay, she's gonna get a chair.
I'm just kidding. I'm really not. I'm just gonna be right here.
Okay.
I'm so tired. But where'd Darren go?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there he
Right
is.
here.
So Darren, what are you guys
Yes.
talking about? I'm sorry. Am I like just taking over?
Well, we were talking about the Mets moves. I was gonna go
No,
into
yeah.
to the Rays move, and then I saw you pull up. I was like, I'm almost afraid to talk about it. But
Yeah, because I'm going to be going off in the background like a mad woman. I'm not a happy camper.
Tell me.
You know what? Whatever Mike is about to tell you, I'm going to leave soon because I just got home from work. Yeah, teacher is getting home from work at 9:20.
Why are the Rays trading within their division?
during
Right?
during the game,
During the game. Because Stu Sternberger, however you say his name, is an idiot. He is an idiot. And I'm a Yankees fan for life now. I'm done. I'm done with the Rays. I'm so done. Because you know what? This trade probably, I'm so sorry. Am I taking over? This trade probably involved 2 months worth of rent free. Because they traded this guy, right? Who it leads the league in stolen bases. I don't know. He did it a couple days ago.
yeah, he was still leading. With
Okay,
43.
it couldn't change, but it's still.
Yeah.
Yeah. He leads the league in stolen bases. He gets on base. I don't know his on base percentage, but I'm pretty sure it's darn well close to 90. I don't know for sure. But then they traded him.
There he is.
Someone who hasn't played since
Angry eyes.
2023, and somebody else to be named later.
I had the Yankees today. Who did they pick up?
Sorry. I'm sorry. But now I'm a Yankees fan for life. I'm done. I'm so done with the Rays. I can't even. I just wanted to let you know that. I'm sorry, guys. I took over. I love you all. What are they doing?
Who did the Yankees get?
So during the game, I think it was during the rain delay, I'm pretty sure, Jose Caballero, the league leader in stolen bases, was moved to the Yankees during the game. So he just switched dugouts. Eileen's been a Jose Caballero guy for, and he, him not being a starter this year was the first part that was kind of a bit confusing. Barely gets to play, unfortunately, but he barely gets to play. When I say barely, it's like 3 days a week, and he leads the league with 43 stolen bases going into yesterday. So she's not happy about that move.
Will she really go to the Yankees?
She wants to follow. I mean, she's a Caballero fan, so she wants to
All right,
continue supporting
good for her. That's
Caballero.
good.
But I don't know. Going to the Yankees is tough, but the Rays move.
Well, that's where Cabby's going. Cabby is going to the Yankees. So I'm just going with him. I'm just going to go with him. That's
All right, man.
I might
Dwight
as well
went to the
just
Yankees, and we hoped he did well.
that. Just for me to say I'm a Yankees fan for life now just shows you how mad I am because I hated the Yankees a few hours ago. So.
I just don't understand trading within a division.
That's the thing. Trading within the division during the
It's a no-no.
But let me ask you this in a serious question here. Okay, I'm gonna put my serious face on. Okay, just for a moment. Okay, so I'm gonna pondering.
That's my favorite of him.
But
He's my pal.
when you trade for a player to be named later, does that mean you just want to get rid of someone and you don't give a crap who you get back in return, or is that just a money move? Like I can't imagine he was making.
No, it's both. It's both. It's a cap space. It's just want to get rid of him. He's a poison in the locker room. It could be just get rid of him.
Because I'm just thinking here. Okay, this is a guy who makes $776,000. Okay, not much more than the league minimum. Okay, he can play every position besides pitcher and catcher, and has this season. Okay, and he's the league leader in stolen bases. I'm not quite sure why we're getting, and people have been praising some of the moves the Rays made today, but why are we releasing, or why are we sending to the division a guy this kind of are you 776,000? I don't, even if you're the Rays, is not breaking the bank. Like I could see if he was at.
And you gave him to the Yankees. The Yankees have no speed until now.
Yeah.
One thing about the Yankees, they were built for doubles and home runs because they have no speed. Even Jazz Chisholm, I mean, he can run, but he wants to try to be a power hitter, and he looks foolish doing it. But why would you give your rivals in a league?
Yeah, and here's the other part that she. Let me see if I can find the stats of this. So the guy that they got, okay, Everson. So the main guy that they got, so his player to be named later, and Everson Pieria, major league career stats. Okay, 158 batting average, 10 hits, and that was back in 2023. So now I can say he is, and I didn't see this earlier. He is doing pretty well in whatever minor league system he's in. He's got 19 home runs, 52 RBIs, decent average. But
they took a flyer.
Yeah, so she's I don't know if you're watching Yankee games, but she's upset right now. And so you see him watching the video here in the background. You see him hugging and shaking hands with the team. But that's awkward to just literally walk across the dugout. And
hey, it's happened before.
Yep. But yeah, he said money most of the time. So we'll continue on this path here. There's a lot more.
So I got a question for both you and Ed. You ready?
Yeah.
We have these seminal times in our lives. I remember when this happened, I was here. So where were you both today when the big news came out that Steven Matz is now with the Red Sox?
You want to know?
Yeah.
So Ed knows this, but we had this. The Mets were off today, but I like to, if the Mets seem to be getting some sort of trouble, I'd like to go into my pool because it seems like when I go into the pool, things settle.
I heard that. You got to live in that pool. I heard.
So once that first race, because I'm a big Taj Bradley guy, I just don't know what it is. I just feel like this kid is going to blow up for somebody, and it's going to suck for the Tampa Bay Rays. So I went in the pool because I was upset about the move. And then I got out of the pool. I was like, let's see who else they got rid of because it's the Rays thing. Remember last year, like literally trade deadline last year, they got rid of a Rosarina. They got rid of Paredes. They got rid of every starter that's ever been pitcher before in their life. So I was like, who else did they get rid of? And then I saw that the Red Sox fans were upset because at the time that was the only move that they made. And, so they were a little bit confused at that fact that they're a team that's still in a playoff position here and they're making moves the deadline. So, that's where I was.
All they did is that move in Dustin May. That's not enough.
Yeah, that's not. Nope.
You see what you got to take your wife to the mall and Yankee game.
So that's next week. Okay, yeah. So we have. It would have to be a weekend because she works Monday through Friday, so it'd have to be a Saturday game. I don't know if they play on a Monday through. She was on the bathroom wall. I have to check the schedule and see. But it's not. It's a nice. I mean, it's a long drive, but it's straight 95. You get off, and the stadium's right there. So it's about 2 hours, 50 minutes or so south. So it's not terrible, but it is a bit of a drive. So one other big, so a move that I think may go down to Padres. Let's talk about the Padres. Talk about a team that is legit trying to compete. And I said this early on when I was talking to myself because nobody was on. But and I don't mean just you. I mean like it was early on and no one signed on yet. And
but you got to keep going. You got to keep going.
The Padres, I think, parted ways with 17 prospects today, and I think I might be off by one or two. But it felt like they, and Ed and Darren, I'd like to get your thoughts. I feel like by them beating the Mets and sweeping the Mets, they kind of like pounded their chest and were like,
100%.
We're legit. And they just went at it today. But I think the move of all moves is them acquiring Mason Miller because to me, they're probably going to be hanging around the playoffs and stuff like that. And that's a guy who, you're down 2 in the 9th, you're down 1 in the 9th. He's a shutdown piece that's going to shut you down. Like, that's not a guy you want to face I just feel like that's the biggest move that they made. I know they made other big moves, but I think that's the move right there of the whole day, in my opinion.
That goes back to what you were talking about with the Mets a couple of days ago, making the trade for Soto, because these teams that are all in it, right? I mean, any of these teams could beat any of them. I mean, the Padres just swept the Mets, but the Mets could sweep the Padres. Who knows? I mean, they all took the same philosophy. The Phillies, the Padres, the Mets, and the Yankees going for deep in the pen. Don't blow the lead, deep in the pen. And that's what they did, and Padres also did some other things as well. But, the picking up J.P. Sears and such. But they're for real. The Giants, I think, surprisingly put the white flag up. I think the Giants are now sellers. And
that's a shame. It's as hot as they were to start. Like, it was just.
I know.
The Padres were 7-0, the Dodgers were 7-0, and the Giants were 6-1, and they're like, oh, okay, But yeah, that's a big shame there. One move that, again, I like these under the radar moves that not a lot of people are talking about, but Seattle Mariners, don't look now, they are.
They were power.
Edwino Suarez from the Diamondbacks, 36 home runs this year. Between Cal and him, like, that's like an insane amount. I think it's like 81 home runs between the two of them already. It's insane. So this is a team that's right there. I mean, they're still behind the Astros, but they're going for it. They didn't have to part with much here to get them either. So they're looking legit, and they also still have a Rosarina on the team. They still also have Julio Rodriguez on the team. That's a 4-man combination that I wouldn't want to be facing at all. So
their philosophy is we're going to beat you 8-6.
Yeah,
I mean that's they're like, we don't have enough pitching, and that's okay. We have enough to get us, to the playoffs, but we're going to have to out-hit you, and that's a philosophy, and that can work.
Yeah.
The Baltimore Orioles won many a championship, hitting a 3-run homer. Frank Robinson, Luke Powell, and Brooks Robinson. Let's go. Davey Johnson, 48 home runs.
Yeah, that's true. And Ed talked about how it's important to win the East. Let's talk about the Phillies for a moment. So
hold on a second. Stop. So Eileen's already in Yankee pinstripes.
right. There we go. Well, I'm going to have to order the SN. Or what channel are they on? The Yes Network?
Yes, Yes Network. Yeah.
Yes Network. Okay.
The whole stadium was chanting his name at our last game. Finally, they have attendance numbers outrageous, right? Finally, the whole stadium is chanting this guy's name. Jose, 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 Jose. What do? They train him. Watch their attendance numbers go down. I hope they plummet. I mean, I hope they go bankrupt. I'm done.
Holy cow. No. We will change subject so that way she doesn't lose it. Let's talk about the Phillies for a moment. So big move for them acquiring who they did today at third in terms of relief pitching.
Johan Duran, unbelievable. Yep, shutdown name. It
was kind of like tit for tat, like the Mets and the Phillies just going at it with their relievers. But yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for the Mets to see that. And we have a lot of games left with the Phillies this season, I believe. I think we still have
a gaggle.
So, because I think the Mets were in the, and I could be off with my number, but I feel like the Mets had a 52-game stretch without a divisional game.
So it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy high. So we have a lot of matchups still to come later this season. So they're still in the midst of that. And of course, the Giants are now coming tomorrow night to Citi Field, which of course is interesting because, we just are. Now, we didn't talk about Ed and I's favorite player, Jose Buto. 2-run Buto went to the Giants. And Ed, what you can put in the chat what we were going to call, but we just feel like Buto is that guy that's going to be like shut down for somebody else now that he's not on the Mets, but he would give up 2 runs every single start. or every single time he showed up in the game. But yeah, so he's now with the Giants. So, which is funny because it's like does he fly with the Mets to Citi Field, or does he have to fly with his new team to Citi Field? Like, I just thought that was kind of ironic. But yeah, so he's there now. Good riddance. We Stanek is next. Got to get him out of there. He's done okay the last couple times, but he's still on my hit list for sure. But Mariners again. Oh, and that was another one. We were talking about the Mariners. So not only did they get Suarez, and they still have a Rosarina, and they still have Rodriguez, and they still have Cal Raleigh, right? But they also acquired Josh Naylor from the Diamondbacks as well.
Yeah,
so that's
two separate deals.
Insane. Insane right there. Let's go back to the Mets for just a minute. So that Jose Buto, Blake Tidwell, Drew Gilbert, all leaving the Mets. But of course, the Mets acquired Tyler Rogers. So we talked about Gregory Soto earlier, but now we got Tyler Rogers. Now he's the guy that talk a little bit about his release, because it looks like in still photo shots that his fingers are touching the clay every single time he releases the ball. But talk a little bit about that release of his, or just those kind of pitchers, because a lot of people that don't know that they exist.
I just don't know how the ball gets to the plate. It's amazing to me. He just this whole buggy whips, as the kids say. It's all whip action. It's just it's like a snap, and it's amazing that he can do it. I mean, we used to talk about Terry Leach as a submarine pitcher, sidearm pitcher for us. He's nothing like this. This guy literally throws underhand.
Yeah. Yep. And of course, that final, if you want to talk a little bit about, if you wouldn't mind, the final piece of the Mets puzzle there for the bullpen. So we talked about Soto and we talked about him, but that other name that I think is the deal breaker there, or the big difference from St. Louis. What do you like about him?
Repeat that. The guy from St. Louis? I was typing something back to Ed. Sorry.
Okay.
What was the question again?
The question. Talk a little bit about the closer that we picked up from St. Louis.
He's very good. He's got a 3-point-something ERA so far this season, which is respectable. The Cardinals are actually, just kind of giving up, right? We know that. And the guy is used to throwing a lot of innings. He was one of the best relievers last year. And, we're renting the player, which is okay. And, it's good for us. Ryan Hensley, and he's used to pitching tough innings. I don't see any downside to him being on the team. I put him in the 7th inning. I put Tyler Rogers in the 8th and Diaz in the 9th.
Yes.
So
and
if you have a starter that can shut you down for 6 innings, you got a shot every game.
Yeah. And, if we can get, the one piece that I'm still, we make fun of Buto and Stanek all over the place, because Stanek has some qualities, like he's shut down, but then he's got these qualities of Armando Benitez that just drive you crazy. But even if Reed Gary can figure things out, because I don't want to give up on him quite yet, because there's been times where he's got us out of some jams and things like that. So, but I'd like to see him continue to turn this thing around a little bit. But again, another big, I want to mention this too, another big piece from Tampa Bay, Zach Littell, his last 3 starts, scoreless. He's had a great year, Zach Littell. Basically, he was a spot starter that was going to fill in for about a month for Shane McClanahan. Shane got injured again and again, and so he's been probably their most consistent pitcher. But as always, trade deadline. So, and a lot of people are praising who the Rays got. They didn't sell off their team like they usually do. But at the end of the day, they lost Caballero. They lost 2 starters now in Taj Bradley and Zach Littell. So just disappointed, to say the least. But, I mean, I get it, I guess. But it is what it is. That was the move there. The other Rogers twin, so both were dealt today. So not just him. And we talked about but We talked about. Oh, here's another one. So the Reds made a big move yesterday, acquiring Cabrian Hayes from the Pirates. I thought that was interesting that the Reds are still trying to do something.
Why not? Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yep. I think. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick. The standings for the Reds. So Reds are 7.5 back, but again, the second wild card is still in play. So why not at this point? Exactly. So.
And you look at, by the way, you look at the Brewers, right? The Brewers are right there again. Very good year. They're going to be in the playoffs again. And they're a tough team. They're a tough team.
So
got
let me ask
you last year.
Yeah. No. Now, a few moves that I'll just run off a few of these more here before we kind of recap things. But Charlie Morton went from the Orioles to the Tigers. Do you feel like he has? I mean, he had a terrible start to the year. He's turned it around a little bit. Can he be a piece that can help the Tigers? That's a surprising move for the Tigers. I guess they wanted someone with experience because they're typically a younger team. So I was kind of surprised to see that.
Well, that's the kind of guy that you rent for the rest of the season. He's your spot starter, or, a guy come in, throw a lot of innings rather. And I think it's a very nice move. Why not? Baltimore's going nowhere. They're dismantling that team, which is shocking to me because they were so good last year, through August. And then they kind of fell apart, snuck into the playoffs and got embarrassed. And it's a shame what's going on there because it's such a great fan base. But now he's with the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers are a very good team.
Yeah, he's in a good place. Some lower profile moves. The Padres also acquired Nestor Cortez from the Brewers. That was interesting.
Yep.
The Rays did get Adrian Hauser from the White Sox. They had to give up infielder Curtis Mead for that. But the Astros picked up a good bat from the Marlins, Jesus Sanchez. That was a good move for them as well.
And they got Correa back.
And what?
And the Astros got Correa back.
Oh, yeah, they got Correa. Yep, exactly. And there's one other one I wanted to mention. Let me see here. Just looking at a lot. There were a lot of other moves today, but nothing really that jumps off the page. I think we covered the gist of them. The big
Yankees getting Ahmad Rosario.
Yep, Rosario. So, is there anyone that you're surprised didn't move today? Let's go there. Is there anyone jumps off the page? Are you surprised Luis Robert Jr. didn't get moved from the White Sox or anybody else for that matter? Duran maybe from the Red Sox. Well, I didn't quite understand why they would move him, but
no, I'm not surprised. Boston people are disappointed because they thought that they were going to do something really big. Because let's face it, they're in striking distance, right?
Yeah,
but. They're very good, but the thing is, in reality, is at the trading deadline, unless you fleece somebody, you need to have talent that people are going to want to get. Who did the Red Sox have to get back somebody of value? You got a bunch of guys this year who are good players, but playing over their head. Much like I referred to the OMG guy last year. He was nice. It was a nice story, but he's shown who he is, and that is you are who you are. Your numbers tell you who you are, and nice. But no, the Red Sox, they expected to do more, but they have nobody to trade.
Yeah, that's why That's why they couldn't. Is they didn't have enough value that people, and they're not gonna. I mean, you're not gonna trade a guy like Durant. I don't see the upside in that. And
4 weeks ago, people were, and again, it's just doing it for clicks and for people to buy papers. Whoever buys papers anymore. Will DeGrom be coming back to the Mets? The Rangers are in a playoff fight with what I consider now the best manager in baseball. He just wins with the Giants. He won with the Rangers, and DeGrom's pitching well. Why would they move?
Yeah, and Texas is tied with Seattle for that final playoff spot right now. So yeah. Why would you? It's and looking over these stands, it's to see how far Tampa Bay has fallen now to 7th in the wild card. That's crazy. They were just there. Kansas City is trying to creep back in. They're playing a little bit better lately. But yeah, I mean, not too weren't too many other people I expected to move today. I know one move I was surprised to see. I know that they were trying to get Dylan Cease away from the Padres. I didn't quite understand why that would happen.
Right.
You know, that didn't make sense to me why they would move them. But no, I really think it comes down. I'm surprised that the Mets didn't move an infielder. We kind of discussed that a little bit earlier.
It probably couldn't.
Yeah, probably couldn't. But as we come to this last couple months here of the season, tomorrow is August 1st, so we got 2 full months left of the season. If you get 2 teams that won today and 2 teams that should be embarrassed, who would you go with?
I think the Padres won, and I think that there's a tie for second, and that tie is what we talked about: the Phillies, the Mets, the Yankees. Sure enough, their bullpens. I think really. No, let's put it this way: Seattle won because they got some power hitters, and then the tie is the 4 teams who improved their bullpen. I mean, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So I would say Padres won. I would say that I would put the Mets at 2, and then I would have the Yankees and Phillies at 3 tied. The only reason for that is that the Mets were able to do what they did without letting go of a quote unquote top prospect. I know,
100%.
I mentioned in the chat that they did lose their 104.5 mile an hour hurler, but they got one back that throws 102, 103. But they pretty much lost all single A, low level A guys. So they didn't lose any big pieces. So to me, that's a win for sure that they were able to get who they got. Again, it's going to come down to one of those. One of those infielders has to produce. These top guys have to stop going ice cold. I think it was 15 for 132 or something like it. That just can't continue to happen. And we just have to win this series. Like we may not be. I think I'm beginning the season. I'm like, okay, we can legit be the beast of the East. I think at this point we have to look at it and go, okay, we could be, but let's just win series. Let's stop.
Let's win series. Yep.
Let's win 2 out of 3. Let's win 2 out of 3. You have to split on the road, but just do that, and then we'll see what happens.
Get healthy for the playoff push, and go hog wild in the playoffs.
Yes,
that's what I would do. I mean, I think some of the best moves were made by the Blue Jays, right? For example, who really didn't make many moves.
Yeah,
right? I mean, you think about it. I mean, because they like where they are. I mean. Not a bad thing, change just to shake it up. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, the Giants surprised me because I think they gave up, which is sad. Boston, like I said, nobody knows what they're doing. It didn't make any sense for a team that is right there at the wild card. And I live here in Massachusetts, and I hear all of the wailing, and I get it.
Yep. So, but hope you guys. I know, a lot of people right now. There's a lot of things going on, so not everybody was able to jump into this one. But go ahead if you watch this after the fact. Please leave us a comment. A few of you do after we get off the live stream. Definitely still continue to leave those comments. Let us know what you think. Which team won the day? Which teams lost the day? Of course, Baltimore. To me, big losers there.
Big time.
There. But I think Baltimore gets the big L for sure. But yeah, let us know in the chat. Ed agrees to Padres #1. I think that's without saying. And I think we still have a series with them in Citi Field. So I'd like to see a little bit different outcome next time around. But it's going to be let's just talk about that for a second before we wrap.
Hold on, Ed. You're right, Ed. I mean, here's the catcher.
National League playoff, like. How every year there's I don't know, I don't want to disrespect some teams. There's always those 2 teams that are okay, they're in the first round. That's as far as they're getting. But
the Orioles last year.
Yeah. Looking crystal ball right now. Okay. If we're looking at National League playoff series for teams, we're talking Dodgers, Cubs, hopefully Mets, Phillies, Padres, and Brewers. Like, and all 6 of those teams are super
Good.
legit. Like, it's going to be. There's no easy out. Every round is going to be a battle, if that's what it winds up being. Like, there's no team sneaking. Like, if that's how it finishes, that's going to be an awesome postseason on the National League side. And American League side's got some guys too, or some teams too, but National League really this year is it's going to be fun to watch. But we'll continue to kind of monitor things. Just want to give everyone a quick update on the channel and what's to come. Tomorrow night is going to be, we were not able to go live last Sunday. I had some stuff coming up, so it's going to be a bonus recording tomorrow evening. I'm going to be doing my SummerSlam predictions and preview, as you mentioned. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday night, is the first ever 2-night SummerSlam at MetLife Stadium in New York, New Jersey. So we're going to go over the predictions preview. I'm going to give you all my picks. I believe at WrestleMania I went, I think it was 11-1. So hopefully I can stay hot with my picks for SummerSlam tomorrow, or for this weekend. So I'll be doing that live tomorrow night. And then, of course, Darren and I will be back here on Sunday at a different start time. I think we're going to be on a little bit later on Sunday evening. I think I'll still might be on around 8:30. I'll let everyone know, but Darren will be joining me around 9 o'clock instead on Sunday.
Yep.
So keep an eye for the stream in terms of the links for that and stuff like that. It might just be us for the next couple of streams, but we'll be getting some other guests on as well. But it's always fun for us to just kind of chat. And like tonight, it's already been over an hour. It just flew by. This is a lot of fun talking deadline stuff. I do have to show you something. Hold on. It's in the back here. I don't know if this will. Okay. So I just got this book. It is the Baseball Encyclopedia. It's massive. So I'm going to read this live on stream real quick. So,
all right.
Good night. But so I'm going to read.
The Doubleday did not invent baseball.
Yes. It's
Patient.
So it's basically got stats for everybody for every year. It's insane. That page I just opened up was 1931. So I'll be going through that. But yeah. So this was a lot of fun chatting about all the trades that took place, didn't take place, see what happens. I think it's good for baseball. I know, one of my knocks on the NBA was that for a while it was like there's 40 competitive teams. I think now the moves that are made, it does help because there's that 12th team in the play. It does help create some, generate more interest. It is a bummer when your team gives up and is just basically releasing people. But I think, as long as they have that emphasis on really improving their future, not just dumping, there's a difference between the Marlins of the 90s, late 90s, dumping everybody versus what some of these teams are doing. They are trying to build back up their team. When a team gets 6 prospects in return for 1 or 2 guys, it means that they're trying to do something. So, but yeah, Mets bullpen is better the next time we play them. Yes, for sure. I can't wait to see when that is. I know, is San Diego coming very soon, or is it just the Giants? Because I know that we got the Giants tomorrow. So
I'm not sure.
Quite sure. But Darren, any final comments on today's this trade deadline?
No, I got to be honest with you. I think we covered it pretty darn well. We all brought
Awesome.
our A game.
So, yes, as always. So, guys, look forward to episodes, like I said, 102 tomorrow night and 103 on Sunday. We'll let you know the start time with that. But it says you want the Brewers to have to play the Dodgers because the Brewers have won 10 straight from. Wow, that's a high number right there. Wow.
Brewers are built to beat the Dodgers.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know that. That's wow. Okay. I almost wish that trade deadline was like on like that. Like there would be like a Thursday where there's no game schedule, so you can just focus on that because so much baseball happened today. But I was really just paying attention to the deadline. I didn't really watch anything like that. So,
I got a quick thing. Ready? I got a quick thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll go because I want to eat dinner. And the answer is a New York Met. Name the one player in Major League history that played for 2 teams on the same day after getting traded in different cities. And I remember this happened. I remember watching this when it happened.
So Played for two teams and
It was a New
Nope.
York Met.
and it was a New York Met.
Mhm.
Wonder if Ed knows. I will pass that. Let's see if
He was traded from the Mets.
traded.
Do you want a hint?
I do. I'd like a hint.
Your brother, not named Darren, big fan of this guy growing up. The Mets were playing in Montreal when, like the third inning after he got up one time, was pulled from the game and traded, and then made it to the other team's home field for the late afternoon game, and actually was a pinch runner in like the eighth inning.
Now I have to know this answer, but I just don't know. Okay. You got me.
Joel Youngblood.
Okay. Yeah, I probably would have got that after like I would need like a night to like really sleep on it. But okay.
Yep.
Okay. Speaking of the Expos, the official Montreal Expos X account put out a tweet today that said we've made no moves at the deadline today. I thought that was just
I love that. Don't you love that?
Yes.
And we got our hook with the Expos. Anything you ever want to know about the Expos?
Yes. Now, another guy that was on multiple teams. Do you ever back? I forget what year it was, but you got to remember this guy played for. I think it was 8 or 10 teams. Will Ferrell.
There you go.
He went to I think it was Arizona, and he played for one at bat per game, and then would travel to the next city and just put on all 10 uniforms. And
that's fun. Why not?
That's fun. Yeah, he was a bench coach. He was a third baseman. He was a third base coach. It was funny. Umpire, I think it was. So great show tonight. Is a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I have a lot more details coming up on the next episode. Let's talk about it on Sunday. Some more Christmas extravaganza stuff. That is going to
can't wait.
The event for this channel. This event is going to take us to the next level and beyond, infinity and beyond. So we're going to talk about that on the next episode. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Catch us tomorrow night for the SummerSlam preview, and then back again on Sunday night with Darren. Until next time, we'll see you around the ballpark.